They're new to the EDC, and they're going for a conference crown. Much more on the Horace Hawks' chase of an EDC title, plus a wild night in baseball and football. Hot Mike starts now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to the Know Your Base Pass edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning, everybody, in Sioux Falls, KNBN in western South Dakota, and Inforum.com. Happy Tuesday, 14th day of October. We are halfway home through the month of October. We're looking forward to this time all year, and then it flies by. It's just crazy like that. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. I am Dom Izzo, host of said program. Glad you're starting your day with us on a dreary Tuesday. I don't think it's going to get much better, but we'll try and uplight spirits here for the next 2 hours. If you're fans of the Bears or Falcons today, you are certainly living well after last night's another Monday night double dip. I'm done with these. I'm not gonna lie. Next week we got a true doubleheader with a game at 6 and a game at 9. Last night, just with the baseball happening, I watched more baseball than I did any football last night. You can indict me all you want on that, but the baseball games were, at least the NLCS was a heck of a lot more exciting than anything happening football wise. And anytime actually the Bills lose, we're okay with that on this show. Ironically enough, I didn't get any text messages from a certain former Buffalo Bill that I know. The line was quiet last night. It wasn't Sunday morning when the Jets lost, but I refrain from that. We'll get to that coming up in just a little while. We got a lot to get to today. You heard our show tease off the top as we get ready for a big football week, not weekend. We have teacher conferences going on this week. We got football starting tomorrow night in Minnesota. We got games in North Dakota on Thursday. Got games on Friday as we steamroll towards the postseason. Minnesota's done this week. North Dakota, for certain classes, have 1 week of football left. For the big schools, they have 2 weeks of games left before it is time for the postseason. The Horace Hawks, in their debut year in 3A football, are gunning for an EDC championship. We'll check in with them coming up later on in the show. It's also bye week for the Dragons after another teeth-chattering win they got on Saturday out at Mary. We'll visit with head coach Steve Laqua. They have their bye week this week. That's because, remember, the Dragons played in week 0, and actually a majority, I think, of the NSIC is off. So Dragons are halfway home at 4-2. We'll reflect on the first 6 games and look ahead to the back end of the schedule. There's some doozies, including the finale with Mankato to wrap up 2025. That's coming up later on in the show. But let's start from the baseball postseason with the Dodgers-Brewers last night in Game 1 of the NLCS. And you had, as I mentioned off the top, to know your base pass rule. Even the broadcasters last night needed to be reminded about what is a force out, what is a tag out, because of one of the more bizarre plays you're going to see, I would say, in baseball history. The Dodgers have the bases loaded in the top of the 4th inning. Max Muncy is up at the plate, drills it to center. Sal Frelick makes a catch, ? Off the wall. Teoscar Hernandez is going to come in. He's out because he got a late jump. Watch Wilson Contreras, the catcher, notice that there's not a runner at second base. He steps on the bag for a force out. Frelick, we can't repeat what he says. Now watch here. When the ball hits the top of the wall, it's now a live ball, meaning Hernandez had to go. He didn't need to go back, meaning the runner at second needed to go to third, which is why he's out there, because it's a force out. You got to step on the plate. You don't have to tag him. The Dodgers wanted to challenge it, and literally after about 20 minutes, it's ruled an 8-6-2 double play. Crazy. The Dodgers said, well, all right, we'll take care of that in the top of the 6th as Freddie Freeman with a solo home run just over the wall and right to give the Dodgers the lead. Remember how many clutch hits Freeman had last year en route to the Dodgers winning the championship. 2-0 game in the bottom of the 9th, but finally the Milwaukee Bats wake up. This from Jake Bauers goes off the wall for a ground rule double. So now 2 runners on. Jackson Churio up, drives this one deep to center. That's going to be deep enough to get the first run of the game in to make it 2-1. Former South Dakota State Jackrabbit Blake Trinan in the game trying to close it out. Walks Contreras here. So the bases are loaded. 2 outs. Bryce Terang is the last hope for Milwaukee, but he strikes out. Actually, he got out of the way of a pitch that could have hit him, and if he did, the game would have been tied. As it were, the Dodgers win it. 2-1 is the final. Not seen was what Blake Snell did. Why can't the Rays get pitchers like him? 8 innings, 10 strikeouts. He was sensational. And the Dodgers win it in a crazy game, 2-1. Well-pitched game. That's what you want in the baseball postseason. So LA steals home field as they take Game 1 with Game 2 coming up tonight in Milwaukee. All the replays today are about what happened on that fly ball to center. And again, it's a heads-up play by Frelick. He reacted as soon as he needed to. And Contreras knowing exactly that the ball was live. During the broadcast last night, Brian Anderson, who's one of the best baseball play-by-play guys around, had to be reminded to know it's a force out at the plate. So they had to step on home plate to get the out. Are you recovering okay from that last night?
Yeah, I'll be fine. But on that double play, too, we didn't show it in our highlights. Muncy actually passed the runner on first base.
Can't do that either.
So that's also an out.
Yeah.
So there would have been no runs scored either way.
Yeah, right. If there was 3, it could have been a triple play if there was more than one out there. So wild deal last night. But Dodgers take Game 1. Also, earlier in the day, as I mentioned, we got to enjoy the few days we have with multiple baseball games happening. We had Game 2 of the ALCS in Toronto. Now, the Mariners took Game 1 on Sunday night, if anybody saw it, because football was happening. So they already stole home field. Now a chance to put the hammerlock on this series and knowing you're going to get the next 3 games in Seattle if they could beat the Blue Jays last night. All we can say is Jorge Polanco was turned into Babe Ruth in the postseason. They got a great start from Julio Rodriguez with a blast to left to start things for Seattle. They got out to a 3-0 lead on Toronto. Now, Logan Gilbert, who pitched in relief in that marathon game on Friday, got the start. Blue Jays got to him. Nathan Lucas with a base hit here. Toronto answers the game. They've tied it up at 3. Didn't stay tied for long because this guy's up at the plate. Just say it, everybody, with me. Why can't the Twins get guys like Jorge Polanco? This is crushed. To right center for a 3-run home run. That gives Seattle the lead off by our guy Louis Varland, by the way. Former Twin great. All we're seeing is Minnesota players in the postseason. Josh Naylor with a 7-3 lead batting at the top of the 7th. And when he hits the ball, it goes a ways. That is crushed for a 2-run shot. That made it 9-3. The Mariners go into Toronto and rout the Blue Jays. They win the first 2 on the road. 10-3 the final last night. Seattle now leads the best of 7, 2-0. Heading back, we can still call it Safeco, for the next 3. Gilbert only went 3, didn't need to. He got plenty of run support. Polanco's been unconscious. 2 for 5, 2 singles, home run, drove in 3. Right now, after he had the game in Game 1, he's the ALCS MVP. We'll just let that sink in. I know Twins fans are going to tell me that the trade was great because they still have a prospect coming up. No. It was a money dump and I get it. He wasn't very good last year, but when you see guys like this, Twins fans have been reminded time and time again on moving on from dudes and seeing this. We don't need any more reminder. So there's your baseball recap from last night with the Dodgers winning and the Mariners winning. Travel day today for Seattle and Toronto. They'll resume that series coming up on tomorrow on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the series in Seattle. Game 2 tonight with the Dodgers and the Brewers, and then they'll take a travel day and resume on Thursday out in L.A. It's actually, for the TV nerd like myself, this is interesting because you have both series being played now on the West Coast, so you can't start as early as I'm sure the networks would like because you're not going to start at 10 a.m. local time for a game at supposedly noon Central, right? You got to wait till, I think it's 5 o'clock when they're going to play out in Seattle or L.A., 5 o'clock Central, which means it's 3 o'clock local. That's not ideal either. You know, people have to work. I'm sure they want to go to the game, but TV, as we know, ruins all. So that's what we saw last night in baseball. Meanwhile, the National Football League insisted on playing 2 games last night. The Commanders and the Bears, which we'll get to in a second. But first, it started with the Bills in Atlanta. Now, Buffalo had this stretch. Remember, after they got to 4-0, and they struggled with, I think it was New Orleans, but they had a stretch here where they're playing teams that they were going to roll over. The Patriots were in there. The Falcons were in there. Well, nobody gave New England or Atlanta the script because the Falcons, and by the way, uniform chat for just a second. Why isn't this Atlanta's normal uniform combo all the time? Somebody explain that to me. Drake London scores, then Bijan Robinson gets loose down the sidelines. Remember, they drafted this guy, they didn't even use him. He's pretty good. He scores here on an 81-yard touchdown. It's 21-7, Atlanta. Buffalo finally woke up in the second half. Ray Davis scores on this 16-yarder from Josh Allen, so it's 21-14. This is mind-numbing play. I don't know what Josh Allen's doing. Backhanded throw on 4th down is incomplete. Bills had one last chance. Down 10 with under a minute to go. Allen was flushed out of the pocket. It's deflected and picked off. And the Atlanta Falcons, remember they got blitzed by Carolina, lost by 30. They've won a couple in a row. They're now 3-3 after they beat the Bills 24-14. The other game that was on WDAY last night, the Bears and the Commanders, saw Chicago race out to a big lead for Washington. Woke up on this Chris Moore 22-yard touchdown from Jane Daniels makes it 13-7. It's 16-10 Bears. Slightly open is Luke McCaffrey. There was nobody in the zip code for a 33-yard score. The Commanders now have the lead at 17-16. Same score in the fourth quarter. That is a heck of a throw. The penalty was on Chicago to keep the Commanders on the field, which leads to Daniels to 1,000-year-old Zach Ertz in the back of the end zone. It's 24-16 Washington, and they're pulling away. But Caleb Williams and the Bears, the weather kept getting worse as the game went on, and the Bears played better as it got worse. This is horrendous tackling. DeAndre Swift, 55 yards for the score. They missed the 2-pointer. So it's 24-22. Now, Washington just has to ice the game away, but they fumbled the ball. They lost it on a 3rd down. Again, it was slippery. Daniels never had it. And the Bears recover near midfield, giving them a chance here to potentially steal one on the... Remember how bad Chicago was the first 2 games? They gave up 60 to Detroit. Now they're driving for the potential winner. Jake Moody, who was elevated off the practice squad just a couple hours before the game, into kick and drills a 38-yarder, and the Bears beat the Commanders 25-24. Chicago has won 3 in a row, and all of a sudden they have tied the Vikings in the NFC North standings. As you wake up this morning, Green Bay, because of its tie ahead of the Lions, remember they lost on Sunday night to Kansas City, then the Vikings and the Bears in the NFC North. Yowza, what a race to start here so far in 2025. Remember, Detroit is a biggie with Tampa coming up on Monday night next week, part of the doubleheader that they have going on next Monday night. So fun there. Chicago got their act together. Bears have won 3 in a row. First time that they've done that in 5 years. We have a packed show coming up for you here on this Tuesday morning. Our guest lineup is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Harvey McMahon will join us in just a couple minutes, head coach of the Horace Hawks. They've got a big one with Fargo Davies coming up on Thursday. We'll preview that. The Hawks just swept West Fargo and Cheyenne. We'll preview the big matchup with Davies for the top spot in the EDC coming up in just a few minutes. Our guy Mike McFeely will be back with us in studio at 9:35. Reflect on the Bison performance, the win over Southern Illinois. Look ahead to the second half of the Valley schedule for everybody in it. Chat a little bit about the FCS playoff rankings coming out tomorrow. At 10 o'clock, my conversation with Jack Iuliano, North Dakota State senior defensive end. He had a sack in the game on Saturday against SIU in his 7th year of college football. If you missed our initial conversation with Jack back in February, this is pretty good stuff from his time in the Ivy League to Albany, to how he was driving to Fargo and nearly had to turn around. That's coming up at 10. And at 10:35, Steve Laqua will join us, MSU Moorhead Football Coach, as the Dragons head into their bye week, getting ready after a big win over Mary on Saturday. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Tuesday morning. We're just getting started. We're glad you're joining us. We come back. The Horace Hawks leader, Harvey McMahon, joins us on their debut year in 3A football. That's coming up when we come back. All right, welcome back, everybody, here. Tuesday morning show off and rolling. Don't forget, Thursday night, we got a game for you here on WDAY Extra, because football is all week long with conferences going on in North Dakota and Minnesota. We'll have for you Davies and Horace, 7 o'clock on Extra. Last I checked, those two teams are tied for the top spot in the EDC, and they'll meet on Thursday. Our guy Harvey McMahon joins us, head coach of the Horace Hawks, after they swept through both West Fargo and Cheyenne. Their debut year in 3A football is going pretty swimmingly. Their only loss actually was to a 2A school who could beat a handful of teams. That's the Kindred Vikings. He joins us this morning. We were just joking off air here. Your team won. Valley City State beat Mayville. Is this like the ultimate weekend for you?
Oh, yeah, this is great. Anytime, it's kind of the 3 levels, when the Hawks win at the high school level and the Vikings took care of business against a good Mayville team. I mean, Mayville's definitely showing that they're not the same old Mayville. So, Coach Horner pitched a wonderful, wonderful game against Mayville State. That defense was rolling. And now I just need J.J. McCarthy to get healthy on the Vikes, and then we should be good to go on all 3 levels.
You might be asking for a little much there. KOC played it pretty close to the vest yesterday on that. All right, before we talk Davies, tell me the last 2 weeks. We talked about it when you came in studio before the season got going, the anticipation for the first varsity games against both West Fargo and Cheyenne. Obviously, you won both games. You got to be thrilled to death about that. How did the boys approach it, knowing they've been talking about this for 4 years, about playing these guys?
I think obviously those games have been circled on our schedule for a while. I think the whole community was ready to rally around those games on either side, whether it's Cheyenne, West Fargo, or Horace. And so a lot of it was, those non-conference games were huge for us and able to kind of find who we were and where we were. And so by the time we got to those West Fargo and Cheyenne games, we were feeling pretty comfortable. We were feeling confident. And again, like going into this year is one of those pretty wide spectrum where we could have ended up. And I think, ultimately we just have kind of focused on our locker room and that's carried us through.
That Kindred game, Harvey, to think back of how close you were to winning or tying that game, how much is that, I don't know, inspired, but just say we're awfully darn close to being unbeaten right now?
I mean, that program, Burgad and Safe and all those guys do a tremendous job down there, and we have a ton of respect for them. But that's what I was kind of alluding to with the non-conference. Yeah. At the time you don't think it is, but looking back at it, that was probably the best thing that's happened to us all year, was that loss to the Kindred game. When we kind of reflect as a staff just on those non-conference, we weren't super thrilled actually with how we were playing the first 10 quarters of the season. I know we won one against Red River, but we just weren't super thrilled again. We thought we left a lot out there. It was a little concerning. When we played Kindred, we just didn't felt like we were playing our brand of Horace Hawk football. And then even the first 2 quarters of Mandan, we were down 0-14 against Mandan, and it just those first 10 quarters were pretty, imperative. All off season, we were worried a little bit about a championship hangover, and that's what it kind of felt like. Kids weren't having fun. It was tense. We weren't playing loose. And then, something happened, and I would tell you the turning point, would have been halftime of that Mandan game. Just nobody was yelling. It was one of those just, when are we going to choose to have fun and play our brand of football? And it was a good response. That second half of Mandan, we hung 35 points up, and we kind of found ourselves, and we haven't really looked back since.
You feel like relax a little bit after that? The guys were playing tense maybe in the first 2.5 games?
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't feel, our seniors could feel it. Coaching staff could feel it, and I think maybe some of it was some of the young players kind of realizing, okay, I got to fill shoes on a high expectation team. But yeah, those first 10 quarters, we just didn't feel like ourselves, and that's the value of having those non-conference games. And so, like I said, once that second half of Mandan, we kind of found our stride again, and we were excited to carry that over through the games going into 3A. And the biggest thing was, win or lose, high school sports is supposed to be fun. And so I think once the kids kind of just bought into that, like, hey, we just need to have fun. Then we'll play the best version of ourselves, and that's what we did.
To have the win, we showed the game when you guys beat Legacy the way you did too. To go out there, win the way you guys did, what did that do, momentum, and just for your own team's just personality of, hey, we just won a game that maybe we shouldn't have won?
Exactly right. And that's the blessing of high school sports. And we've been fortunate enough to have some of that testimony. I told the kids, like, ultimately you gotta focus on yourself, because the Horace Hawks were somewhere between losing to Kindred and beating the number 1 seed in the state, Bismarck Legacy, right? And so it just goes to show you can lose to anybody or you can beat anybody. And that Bismarck Legacy team is a tremendous team. Might be the best team we have faced to date. They are tough as nails. And Coach Clemens does a wonderful job over there. And I think that game really, again, you talk about rolling over from that second half of Mandan. What I'll tell you this about 3As, it's really had to bring out the best of our kids and our staff. And that's what Legacy did.
Well, so when you were here right before the season began, we were chatting about your schedule, knowing full well what was at the end of it. So now here you are. Describe what practice was like yesterday. Like, everything's in front of us. You win your final 2 games, you're the number 1 seed.
Yeah, and I think, I was talking to my dad a little bit about it. I was talking to some other coaches that I know in the area, and I think there is a lot of people who didn't think we'd be having this conversation on October 14th. And so it's a blessing to have that conversation. But, our kids aren't going to play tight. We tried that for 10 quarters. And so we don't want to do that anymore. And so our kids are playing loose. They're having fun. And we're going to do that. We're going to let the chips fall where they may. If you go 2-0, you get the 1 seed. I mean, we know that's huge. Then playoffs run through Fargo. And if you don't, then we just got to take it as they come. But the cool thing is, like I told the kids yesterday, every game from here on out is a playoff game. You're not going to play a team that's not a playoff team. So we just got to bring our best stuff, and hopefully it turns out.
The challenge of facing a Davies team, you know exactly what they want to do, what they're going to do. What is it? Just a matter, hey, we got to stop it? Is that the biggest challenge on Thursday?
Well, I think when you play a team, and Coach Wermeyer does a great job. I love Coach Wermeyer. He just exactly right. This is what we're going to do, and stop it. And so if you can't, just do it again. And that's a great method. I love that. And so that's a huge challenge for us, especially on the defensive side. We have to be disciplined. This is our next 2 weeks, because Coach Mattern is the opposite way. Yeah. They do the same thing, but they're going to go 5 wide, instead of 5 in. So our Coach Boyer and Coach Compton, our DCs, are going to probably lose all their hair in the next 2 weeks, but that's okay. I'll buy them hats.
How much fun are you, the guys, having? Like, this is what we wanted. We won the state championship last year. Now we've moved up, and here we are. We got a chance to maybe do it again at the 3A level.
Yeah, and that's, that's all icing for us. I mean, that's obviously the goal every year, is to, maximize each team that you get. This team does have championship, aspirations. And, the big thing we put a premium on is just extending our lifeline together. Like I told the kids before the championship last year, winning a championship is great, but understanding too that this was the last time we were ever going to play together, that carries more weight than winning a championship. And so like with this senior class, I remember them coming in as 7th graders, and for us, like, yes, we want to win a state championship, but more importantly, we're focused on extending our lifeline together, because I don't want to be done being their coach, and they don't want to be done, wearing the wings on their helmet.
All right, so the last 2 weeks you played for trophies here. We got several submissions. Do you actually have names for the because if not, our viewers are ready to suggest a couple.
I would be willing to listen to all of them. I'm not. My boss is going to yell at me. I'm not saying they're bad, but I didn't have anything to say as far as what they look like or they say. I found out the day before West Fargo High that we were playing for a trophy, and my response was, I don't know if we needed any more additional pressure on this one, but it worked out. So, but yeah, the Packer Horace one is called the Green and Gold Trophy, and then the Cheyenne one is the Talon and Hoof officially.
Oh, okay. I don't mind that. I had one to throw at you here for the Cheyenne Street Turkey Nest Trophy. It's the battle for the turkey nest. The main street that runs to Horace from West Fargo. Numerous wild turkey flocks that roam Cheyenne Street might need a nest-looking trophy. What do you make of that?
I like it a lot because those turkeys are kind of a staple of Horace. When you drive down to Horace, you have probably a 90% chance of having to stop for this big old mob of turkeys. And all these new people moving into Horace, I hope they, treat them with respect, because those turkeys have been here for a long time.
They've been longer than anybody else there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be okay with that.
Where are the trophies now? Do you know?
I put them in my athletic director's office and let him deal with them. I'm moving past that. I'm not a huge. There's only really one trophy that we're kind of honed in on.
I hear you, man. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it. Good luck on Thursday night. We'll talk soon, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
There he goes, Harvey McMahon, head coach of the Horace Hawks. Biggie coming up on Thursday night with Davies, number 1 seed, EDC champ, at least first on the line on Thursday night for that one, isn't it? Isn't it Thursday? Oh, no, it's Friday. Cheyenne Shanley's on Thursday. I'll get my take together here. Yes, EDC championship potentially at stake with the matchup on Friday between Davies and Horace. We got Cheyenne playing with Shanley. So the top 4 all match it up here over the next couple days. Appreciate his time. We'll look forward to that one coming up on Friday night down on the south side of town. We'll break. We come back. Our guy Mike McFeely waiting in the wings. Chat with Michael about who knows. That'll be fun. That's coming up. We come back.
Oh, it's Mr. McFeely.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Let's do some broadcasting.
Yeah. We'll do some broadcasting with our guy Mike McFeely. Joins us each and every Tuesday. We missed you last week. We were down in Sioux Falls.
Not my fault.
Did you come in?
You're the one that was somewhere else.
Did you come in and sit here in the dark?
Yeah. Yes. Because this is that big of a deal to me every week. I set aside 45 minutes a week to travel here, sit here, and then leave here. That's my whole week.
That's your whole deal. What do you want to chat about today? I got a couple things. I don't know if you normally come in.
Well, as you pointed out, I'm rarely on social media anymore just because I just can't handle it. It's just such a pile of burning garbage.
Yeah, you're the smartest one of the rid of
But this morning I'm trying to contact somebody, and the only way I can contact them is through Twitter, blah, 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 doesn't matter. And so I was scrolling through the feed.
Yep.
And I saw that one of the FCS accounts had pointed out that Murray State has lost, 16 games in a row or something like that, whatever.
Good.
And I couldn't resist
spiking the football on this
just
one. Yeah.
I mean, I was open about it at the time. I can go back and find those columns if any of you chuds don't believe me. But I openly columnized and advocated against Murray State getting the Missouri Valley Football Conference because why? We know they suck! And they're not going to get any better!
Nope. And they're not. They've lost 15 consecutive games.
And so I said at the time, it's like, well, what are we doing here? I thought the purpose of adding teams to a conference was to make the conference stronger. I know there was other things at play. And let me make clear, I have no problem with the people at Murray State. They were great last year.
They were great.
They were
Absolutely
fantastic. Yep. So it's not nothing personal. It's the worst football program in the Valley by a million. They're far worse than Indiana State in my view. And if you look at any of the metrics, the Sagarins, the Bill Connellys, Murray State is like one of the bottom 5 Division I programs in the country. They're terrible. And there's no hope. If these idiot presidents would have gotten their private planes that their universities owe on the taxpayer dollars and flown to Murray, Kentucky, or would it have been Paducah?
Yeah, you got to go to
Paducah. Anyway, and gone and said, gosh, this town is a long ways from anywhere. And again, no knock on the school.
No.
It is what it is. But the other Missouri Valley Conference schools, especially at the time Missouri State, which, where are they now?
Yep, they're not here. Well,
and Illinois State and Indiana, they were so tired of.
Also, Western Illinois voted for them too, and they're not here
and
anymore.
They're not in the league. They were leaving the league. They were leaving the league.
Yep.
And they voted for Murray State. They got to vote.
Correctamundo. Yep.
By the way, they might be back in the league if the Ohio Valley falls apart. So Dean Brashani at the time, right? He was on his way out, I think, at North Dakota State by that time. Last time I saw Dean Brashani and had a chance to talk with him, and I'm not joking. I'm not taking poetic license here. I walked up to Dean and stuck my hand out and said, "Thank you for having the coconuts to vote against Murray State getting in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, because nobody else, the Dakota schools didn't even have the guts to vote against it out of protest."
Right.
They just, okay, but we're not. We can't beat it anyway because they have too many votes to beat us. So they just went along with it. And Dean Brashani was out there by himself for all the crap he's taken. Some of it deserved, much of it not. He at least voted against it and said,
"Correct.
What are we doing here?
Correct.
What are we doing?
Yep.
Why are we adding a team that's not going to win a game in the league for multiple years? We knew this was going to happen. Oh, but they're going to get another win. Whatever. Southern Illinois is going to get another win.
Yeah.
UND is going to get another win.
And those teams
Northern Iowa is going to get another win.
Get bus trips to those particular schools as well.
Illinois State bus they bust 5.5 hours
last
to Murray
week.
State.
Yep.
Good job.
Yep.
Nice. They got the win, though.
So the Jackrabbits go there Saturday night.
Yeah.
What do you think that score is going to be?
Yeah.
70-0?
Yeah.
I mean
you saw it last year. North Dakota State could have beat Murray State. They could have scored 100 on them.
Yep.
And they shut it down in the second half.
Yep.
And so great job. So that's
not good.
I mean, look at the Valley scores week to week. And you and I have talked about this. There's like one good game a week.
One, maybe two. Yep.
Yeah.
At most.
Right.
Yep.
And all the rest are South Dakota State versus Indiana State or Illinois State versus Murray State. It's just terrible.
Yeah. There's a wide delineation there between the top and the bottom, and that ain't going anywhere.
And I'm not sure that the top, there's like a large, at this point, I'd say, boy, there's like one team that seems to be humming pretty good, maybe two. And it's the other one might not be the one everybody else is thinking about. I might be thinking about a different school.
Also, yesterday, we were talking about this briefly with Kolpak was here because Sunday we had 3 more college football openings happen as college presidents now are even more inclined to move the timeline up where we thought, and I know you wrote about this yesterday at Inforum, that typically November used to be the move month. Now it's September.
Right.
We had 4 coaches lose jobs in September.
And really it was, if you look back to like when Craig Bohl and Chris Kleiman left, I'm just using the local example because people can relate to it. I mean, they left, and Matt Entz for that matter as well.
December.
They I'm sure that things were in the works, obviously before that, but it was Bohl especially was a pretty quick timeline by the time The previous coach, and I can't think of his name.
Oh yeah,
but he like they fired him at the end of the season or near the end of the season.
Those 10 days,
and
probably.
then Craig was the guy, and then it was before the first playoff game, I think against Furman, that it leaked out that he got the job, which Craig was really happy about. That was fun trying to talk to him about that and getting yelled at, but that's water under the bridge.
Yeah.
But so it used to be then. Now, I mean, the one guy got fired in September.
Yep.
They fired who?
UCLA coach.
Deshaun Foster got canned in September.
Yep. So did Virginia Tech's coach got canned in September.
Yeah, and now it's like October 14th today, and there was like 3 more, and there's going to be more sooner. There's no way Luke Fickell. I cannot believe he's not already gone after what happened on
lost
Saturday.
By $1 million to Iowa.
I mean, and he was apologizing after the game, and the players were going, "Yeah, we don't really know what the team's identity is." And I mean, wow,
that's not great.
So Fickell's gone. I don't know why they're keeping him around to get beat by 1,000 by.
Well, if we thought the buyout,
Ohio
I
State.
think we talked about this a few weeks ago. That the buyout there is $29 million. I think it is for Fickell. We just saw Penn State pony up for $50 million. By the way, the Big Ten is about to make a private equity deal where each school is going to get about $200 million, I think.
Yeah.
So
it just
there you go.
It's all just funny money.
Right?
None of it matters. It just nothing matters.
But that's
nothing matters.
Right now, if you think that's too high a bar, I'm here to tell you, think again, right?
Well, and that's why this happens. It happens every time. It happens every time. But I see Indiana fans are going, well, Coach Cignetti's not going to leave here. There's a special bond.
No.
To repeat, James Franklin, who flopped like a dead crappie at Penn State. They were supposed to win. They're supposed to win the Big Ten.
Correct.
Weren't they the preseason number 1?
They were on College Game Day 3 weeks ago. He was there.
Yes.
They're getting ready for Oregon.
So
now he's done.
He got $50 million or 45 or $50 million for failing.
Yep.
Plus, in addition to his contract that he got paid.
Yep.
So if there's anybody in Indiana going, there's no way Coach Cignetti's leaving us. It's a special bond.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Pie in the sky thoughts there, right?
And then
but he's won at Indiana, like you pointed out to me on Sunday night. Cignetti has won at Indiana of all places.
I mean, historically, I think it was literally the losingest program in major college football. Historically, like they have more losses in college football than any other major college program, and Indiana for years has been awful, just terrible. I mean. And now they're
ranked
third
in the country.
And they probably should be higher, in my opinion. But that, whatever, it doesn't matter. Rankings don't matter. But yeah, and so to take it to the next step, then, if somebody thinks that an FCS coach, I saw the same thing, by the way, regarding our guy Brent Vegan.
Yeah, Vegan's out there.
I saw some Montana State fans saying, "Oh no, Montana State's a better job than
Oregon State."
X. Mm-hmm. Look at the money and not that Brent Vegan's number one driver in life is money, but it matters to everybody. I mean,
correct. Yeah,
and it's just the way it is. I mean, if the New York Times offered me $30 million tomorrow, it'd be a tough choice. I'd hate to not be on this program.
I was going to say, would you still come do this on Tuesday?
Could you match it? I know I have a special bond.
We do. I would like to think so.
But the New York Times said, we're going to give you $10 million a year for 5 years, Mike. You want that? Oh, and the buyout's going to be $20 million. I'd go, gosh, let's see. Well, maybe. Let me think about it. That's where we're at. You can look at Oregon State as being a really difficult job, which it is. It's really unfortunate what happened to Oregon State and Washington State getting left behind.
Yep.
But Jimmy Rogers got a large raise.
He knew full well what he's getting himself into when he took that job. Absolutely.
And when Brent Vegan goes to Oregon State, he's going to up the paycheck. And the next step then, if you have any success there at all, then you're looking at...
It's a Power 4 school.
Like generational, your grandchildren's lives are taken care of and their kids' lives are taken care of type of wealth after that. So it's always been about the money.
Yep.
There was never a chance Craig Bohl was going to stay in Fargo. He's going to turn down Wyoming. There was never a chance that Chris Kleiman was going to
take Kansas State.
Was not going
right.
to take Kansas State. There's not a chance that Kurt Cignetti, if Penn State comes calling and offers that he's going to stay in Bloomington.
Yep.
There just is. Unless Indiana says whatever they give you, we will match it. But they can't do that because Penn State has way more money than Indiana.
Yeah. There's no way that's going to happen. Right.
I mean, so it just whatever.
Let's break. We
Thanks,
come back.
TV.
Yeah. We're the fault.
Thanks,
by the
TV.
way, your column was TV is the fault of everything. I enjoyed that.
Yes,
to start your column
it pretty much
today.
is, but that's okay.
Accurate. Let's break. We come back. We'll chat some Bison football. A couple other topics. Want to hit with Mike. We come back. Wrap up our first hour right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up our first hour. Got an email in during the break. Eric might want to close his ears on this. Remaining Badgers schedule. We're talking about Wisconsin after they got booed off the field after they lost to Iowa. So Ohio State, last I heard, they're all right. They're ranked they're number 1. At Oregon.
Which is the right proper L?
You got that one, yeah. Home for Washington. At Indiana. Last I checked, they're good. Illinois and at Minnesota.
Oh, the last one is a possibility, but by that time, they
better not win a game here.
There'll be 31 kids in the transfer portal, and they'll be on their interim offensive line coach or something. So as the head coach. So
another email comes in. He's on fire. Dom, not sure why McFeely is so wound up this morning. Did someone steal his monster cookies again? Anyway, do you guys think NDSU is running Cole Payton too much? It's a long season, so hope he stays healthy.
They're not running him almost at all on purpose.
No,
it's just
there's
scrambles.
no design runs.
And there's been a couple of the one odd play from Saturday was the last play that he was in the game. I didn't know what was going on there.
Yep.
And I don't know if that was just trying to get something and then get him out of the game, or if that spurred Paulsek to say, what are we doing here?
We're done here.
And get him out of the game. That was just a weird play call or a broken play, something.
Something was
But he
up,
got tackled oddly on that play.
Yep.
Other than that, though, it's not. He's the one dishing out the punishment, number
that.
one.
I mean,
and then he's also not being touched. But I get the question. But I mean, you got to win the games.
Yep.
And Southern Illinois was a challenge for the first half.
Look at that stat, by the way. He has 8 touchdowns, 9 incompletions, 8 touchdown passes, 9 incompletions over the last 3 games. That's insane.
Yeah, no, NDSU's good. I had a question the other day from somebody. Well, are they that good? They haven't played anybody. I'm going, well, who do you want them to play?
Who else is the schedule?
South Dakota was supposed to be the be-all, end-all, and they ran them out of the building and
Illinois
made
State
them get on the
won,
bus
right.
Quicker than they wanted to, apparently. And then Illinois State was ranked 6th in the country, and that was okay, and they ran them out of normal.
Southern Illinois is ranked 8th.
And Southern Illinois was ranked 8th, and I thought, they were getting a lot of praise, which is fine, and they ran them out of the building. So the non-conference was incredibly weak, but they're in the conference now. I mean, sorry. It's either a combo of NDSU's really good or everybody else just stinks. And it's probably a combo platter.
I'd say a mix of that, right?
Yeah.
That's probably where we're at. I mean, what you've seen out of the quarterback, I think defensively, again, we talked about this heading into the season, that I thought defense was going to be the strength of the team. They've been really good. The offense is
actually, I think the offense,
holy cow.
if they have to, they could probably
win a game like that.
They could probably win a game if they have to, 37-35 or something. They don't want to, obviously.
No.
But we thought Saturday might be one of those games,
right? Because
we had seen and heard so much about Southern Illinois being this juggernaut, and I just wasn't that impressed. I was more impressed by Illinois State, to be honest with you, than Southern Illinois. But
another email comes in, guys. You really start talking about UND being a legitimate conference title threat. We were just talking about this during the break about UND.
Yeah.
There's a pathway there for the Fighting Hawks.
And I mean, outside of conference, they had a couple of good tests. I don't think they've been tested inside the conference yet, but I think they're going to run Southern Illinois off the field on Saturday.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I was not impressed with Southern Illinois' defense in any way, shape, or form. And the offense, to me, looked the same old kind of gimmicky, just a lot of stuff going on instead of just playing football. They're trying to trick people and everything else. And
UND the rest of the way. After the game in Carbondale, they have Indiana State coming to Grand Forks.
That's going to be a win.
They're going to win that. They go to Vermillion.
That's going to be a win.
They host the Bison.
That's going to be a toss-up.
At Murray.
That's going to be a win.
And then they host the Jackrabbits.
That's going to be a toss-up, but I'll actually, at this point on October 14th, I'd give UND, I'd make them the favorite in that game.
Over the Jacks?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
But we'll see. I mean, If
you look at the schedules down the stretch here, the Bison obviously have to go to both Brookings and Grand Forks. That would be the hardest of the schedules left. The Jackrabbits they go to Vermilion, host the Bison, and go to Grand Forks.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, UND's got what we just said. That's
the big advantage is, and we'll see what they do Saturday. If I'm wrong and Southern Illinois finds a way to clip them, at some point a team has a down week.
Yep.
And I don't think that UND has had a down week yet. They've rolled everybody that they've played, and they probably should really be 6-0.
Yeah.
But they
at least 5-1.
The difference, and I haven't seen all their games. I've seen a couple of them and parts of others. So I want to make that clear. I'm not one of these guys that's making hot takes without ever watching games like 93% of the FCS media out there. But they've been taking care of people quickly.
Yep.
This isn't the Bubba Schweigert, stumble, mumble, fumble, have to have a comeback in the fourth quarter to beat an inferior team.
Like they did with Indiana State a couple years ago.
They are burying teams in the first quarter. Yep. And so to me, that's the difference, and that's what's impressed me so far.
Last one before we go. I know this.
And again, I'll ask it again. How can this quarterback up at UND? Why was he on the bench last year?
I know it.
Maybe he just got that much better. I don't know. Again, I haven't talked with anybody in the UND program. Never in my life I've talked to Eric Schmidt. I don't know if I'd know Jerry Kaminsky if he walked in this room right now. But just looking at what he's doing,
what he's done,
why was he on the bench last year?
Why was he not playing? Is Mike excited for the 3 Conference USA games that are and Sun Belt games that are up tonight? We got Tuesday Night Football.
Well, I'm more excited about that than I am about NDSU, Indiana State. I'll tell you that much.
Tonight we got New Mexico State.
I'm so unexcited about NDSU, Indiana State that I'm not going to Terre Haute.
You're missing out on the Saratoga?
I am missing out. I've made a decision that I'm not going to waste. I'm not going to waste my weekend going to Terre Haute.
Got Gophers, Nebraska on Friday night down in Huntington Bank Stadium.
Yes,
that's
I'm going to be on the shore of a lake in Crow Wing County, Minnesota.
That's a good pick then.
So I'm going to take that over Terre Haute.
So New Mexico State Liberty do anything for you tonight?
Look at the Sagarin ratings, which I love to look at.
Yes.
Last week, the Missouri Valley Football Conference was rated higher than both Conference USA and the MAC.
Oof.
And this week, it is ranked higher than Conference USA. So,
okay. All right.
If you take into it, North Dakota State and South Dakota State, especially NDSU, frankly, they're ranked so much higher than these other Conference USA schools. I mean, Missouri State is 3-3.
I know. Missouri State's won 3 games in FBS football.
For all you cement-headed idiots that hate NDSU, whether you're in Brookings or Grand Forks or wherever you are, and you're trying to tell me via Twitter or email, NDSU would go 5-7 in FBS. No, Missouri State is 3-3.
Right.
That's all you need to know. Missouri, other than 1 year in 21, Missouri State didn't come within 4 touchdowns of North Dakota State for at least a decade.
Even last year, we thought they were this great team. The Bison beat them by 40 last year.
Last year was the best record-wise Missouri State team there had been in like 25 years, and NDSU beat them by 230 points.
Bison dusted them last year. So there you go. Great to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate the time as always. At least for now. I love the Lando shirt.
T-shirt?
Love the Lando Calrissian shirt.
I
love Lando. He's my guy.
Billy D. Williams T-shirt, baby. Eric, find one of those old Billy D. Williams Schlitz malt liquor ads on YouTube. They are the best.
Those are different. Those are a different deal.
Billy D is a dude, man.
Good to see you, bud. Thanks for coming by. Mike McFeely joins us each and every Tuesday at 9:30. We'll break. Hour 2 of the big show coming up. We start it. We come back right after this.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
All right, welcome back, everybody. That was a red-hot segment we had with our guy Mike. Appreciate that. Steve Laqua coming up in about a half hour. We'll chat some Dragon football as they're into their bye week with 4 games to go in the regular season. We'll chat with him coming up in just a little bit. Before we get to my interview with Jack Iuliano, which is really cool, folks. I enjoyed this thoroughly. Especially speaking to a fellow New Yorker, there's just a certain way we communicate, which you'll appreciate coming up here in just a few minutes. Yesterday, we talked about it, we hinted at it, that we were going to find out the potential network and start time for the Bison Jackrabbit game. That came to fruition yesterday afternoon as we're following the separate releases from the Big Ten, from the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, Sun Belt, you name it. And I'm crossing off games and networks, and eventually it came to 7 o'clock on October the 25th, either ESPN2 or ESPNU. If this sounds familiar, we did this same exact thing last year with the game and found out, depending on results, that on Monday we'll find out what channel it's going to be on. But the game will be on ESPN2 for the Dakota Marker between the Bison and the Jackrabbits. It is a toss-up between the Bison and NDSU and Houston and Arizona State. The supposed quote-unquote loser will go and play on ESPNU that day. Now, Houston is 5-1. Arizona State is 4-2. So if my spidey sense is off on this, that if each of these teams win, Houston, Arizona State, now I don't want to ranked, that tie goes to the power schools, that they'll get the ESPN2 game. My only hope is that this is the perfect weekend for the Bison and Jackrabbits to play teams that they're playing, because neither are going to, just say it, the Bison are not going to lose to Indiana State. If they do, it's going to be the greatest upset in their history, honestly. And the Jackrabbits are not going to lose to Murray for all the reasons we just laid out in the previous segment. So each are going to be heading into the game 7-0. Bison are going to be ranked number 1. The Jackrabbits are going to be ranked number 2. There you go. It's 1 versus 2. You can't get a better matchup than that if you're a programmer. Now, they can look back because they put the game on ESPN2 last year and say, well, we only got 150,000 viewers for the game, and I believe Alabama and Georgia were playing on ABC. You're always going to have a big matchup. Texas A&M LSU is going to be the game that's on WDAY a week from Saturday. That might get some eyeballs on it, right? The World Series is going to be going on, whatever. You can debate that to the cows. You are either in with this deal or not. And here's I'd say on this. This is my own 2 cents before we get to the interview. If you made this deal, Missouri Valley Football Conference, you made it to get on ESPN and ESPN2. You didn't make it to go on ESPNU, which has half the viewers that ESPN2 does, right? If you do that, then just stick with the local providers, the local networks, because I can tell you right now, we would get a bunch of people to watch the game on WDAY. Midco, I'm sure, would have its highest viewership of the season if they had the Bison Jacks game. I can say that without any equivocation. For us, next to the UND game, yeah, there'd be a few eyeballs be watching it. Would it be more than what ESPNU would get? I don't know, but it'd be pretty darn high. That's the unfortunate part about that happening. So I guess in my own 2 cents, let's hope ESPN2 gets it. I'd feel a heck of a lot better losing the game to ESPN2 than I would the U, just because the viewership is way less. I think the Jacks Coyotes game got like 94,000 people to watch. It was terrible. So we'll see. We'll find out on Monday what network it's going to be on. But we know the time. We already knew the date for the Bison Jacks game coming up a week from Saturday. Featured in that game is our next guest. And we visited first with Jack Iuliano back in February when the Bison signed him. He went into the transfer portal out of UAlbany and signed with North Dakota State. Not necessarily headline news. The intriguing part about Jack is that he started in college in 2019 at Penn. He's in his 7th year of college football. And he made a huge play in the game Saturday, got his first sack with the Bison early in that game when Southern Illinois was driving, came up with a big-time play. I had a chance to visit with him late last week about giving us the lowdown of getting from Penn to Albany to NDSU, and frankly, still being in college 7 years later.
I mean, it comes with the territory. Definitely have heard a lot of jokes, but it's okay. I mean, they're not wrong. I am a little old.
So let's go back. I know for some viewers that didn't see our first interview when you committed in January, take me back to when college football started, and then you take it from there.
Okay. Well, it started. I came in. I tore my labrum over the summer, so that was a medical red shirt, and then
2019, correct?
Yeah, 2019, and then I was already rehabbed, ready to go, and then COVID hit. So we had one spring practice, and then the Ivy Leagues didn't go back on campus for that whole spring or the fall.
Okay, so that's 2020 and into the fall of 21, correct?
Yeah, I didn't even go back on campus that fall or the following winter. So I didn't go back on campus for a year and a half.
Okay, so just trying to process that of how bizarre was that? You're going to college, but you're at home.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely crazy. After they canceled the spring semester, I was like, okay, cool, we'll just train for the fall, and then canceled that. We were gonna play in the spring, so I kept training, and then canceled the spring, and it was a little bit like, man, like, why am I even still doing this? But stuck with it, and happy I did.
All right, so now we're to the fall of 21.
Fall of 21, yes.
Okay, take me what happened that fall.
I mean, I hadn't played football in a really long time. A lot an injury and then a lot of COVID, so I was just getting my feet back under me and didn't really play in any games, so that was just a red shirt.
Okay, so there's another. So that we're 3 years in, and you've played how many games up to that point?
Zero.
Are you wondering about still going at that time?
Well, I was definitely wondering about still going that first summer after I hadn't played in like 2 years, and it's been a long time. But after I played, even though I didn't play in any games, I rekindled my love for football, so I was just happy to be there and happy to get a shot to get on the field the very next year.
All right, so the fall of 2022. Okay, it's go. We're going to play. You were telling me this back in January that you got your love of football back. Describe that of just being back out there and what that was like for the first time in basically 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a learning curve. When I first got back out there, I wasn't very good, but I picked it up quickly again, and I fell in love with it again, and just been in love with it ever since. That's why I'm still here.
So after that season, you've got actually 2 years to play. So you enter the portal and you go to Albany.
Yeah.
Right? I believe if I have it right.
Yeah.
Or you have one more year at Penn. I'm trying to remember to get my.
I played at Penn for 2 years. It's all right. It's a lot of years, but one year I didn't play. 1 year I didn't play very much, and then I started the last year, so that was good. And then after that season, you can't do a graduate degree in the Ivy League, so I had to go in the transfer portal.
Okay, so you went in the portal, go to Albany. Describe that experience. What it was like there?
The Albany experience was definitely an experience. You learn and grow from every experience. It wasn't the most fun experience, but there are a couple of high points. I scored a touchdown. That was awesome. We won the last game. We were down 28-3, I think, and came all the way back and won. So that was a lot of fun.
But you didn't get out of it what you were hoping to. So and you have another year. Were you considering at the end of last year with Albany, like, hey, I'm going to use it, or I don't know if I want to keep going? Take me back to what your thought process was there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I always wanted to use it. It was just tough because we weren't a very good team. I didn't have too many stats, so I didn't get very many looks. So I was just kind of aimlessly in the portal. Not very fun experience, but yeah, I ended up here, so I was really happy to be here.
All right, so take me through that. You're out there. Do you call here? Did they approach you? Is it a mutual thing? How did it come about?
Coach LJ approached me. I think he was definitely a little lukewarm on me in the beginning. I think I was like the 6th or 7th guy on his list, but it fell through to me, so I ended up here.
So, and I think from what we talked about, you knew about NDSU. Was this a no-brainer? Like when they called, say, okay, hey, if there's an opening, I'll take it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is if you don't want to play at a place like this, then you don't really want to play football. I mean, it's just an incredible place. I don't know if too many people know, but I walked on here, so I didn't even get a scholarship, but I'm just happy to be here.
That's a great part of the story because I wanted to ask you about that. That's you wanted to be here so badly and keep playing that this was the spot for you. And how has this gone now? We talked in March. Now it's October. Tell me about the last 7 months and how it's gone.
I mean, it's a grind. You get here in the spring, it's a grind. It's definitely harder than any place I've been. Summer, same thing, just an absolute grind. But then you start getting here and winning games, and I mean, this is obviously we don't have a championship yet. We're 5 games into the season, but this is the best chance I've had of the championship in 10 years, and that's what I've always wanted. So that's why I'm happy to be here.
Are you playing as much as you thought maybe so far?
I'm happy with my playing time for sure. I mean, the other guys in front of me, Toby and Kelton, they've been here for 4 years. They put in the work. They deserve it, and I'm just happy to be a contributing role member.
How much your attitude has helped this whole thing? Because I think some guys be like, wow, geez, my luck has been completely against me, whether it was out of my control or in my control, and I don't know if I wanted to keep doing this. How much has your attitude helped you this whole time?
I mean, it's really, I guess I can credit it to my attitude, but I think it's just that I love football and I'm happy to be here and I really love winning. So this is a good combination. If you love football and you love winning, there's no better place to be in the world.
Take me back, though, to like 2020 or 2021. Was the love of football dead, basically, at that point for you?
It was a little bit dead. I think if my dad didn't sort of force me to just at least give it an old college try, I would not have done that, but I'm very happy he did.
So now you're here. You got guys busting your chops all the time about being grandpa, being, uncle, whatever. How do you handle that of knowing, what? Yeah, I started college in 2019. I'm still here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if I was more sensitive, maybe it would get to my head, but they're not wrong, so I can't really blame them. It's not the worst thing in the world.
When you look at this whole thing now, look back at it, like, you know what? This is the road that got me here. Maybe this was how it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, look, my college football career, I don't think too many people have had a similar experience to me, but I'm happy I'm here to end it, and I hope it ends with a cherry on top in Nashville.
Have you thought about the real world, like after this, or try to hold off as long as possible? Well, what's ahead?
I've definitely thought about the real world. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, but I also want to just enjoy my last 3 months of football and put everything I have into that, because I know when that's done, no more years. Until I'm all done.
This is it. There's no more no more eligibility.
Yeah, my guy in the NCAA, he got fired, so that's it for me.
For people that don't know, Jack, what is like the transcript, the compliance, all that? What is that like to deal with when it's one thing if it's a redshirt year or a medical? When you had everything happen, describe what you had to deal with on that front.
I mean, yeah, it's 3 different compliance departments, and obviously they don't really communicate, and the other 2 I'm not really there, so they don't really care about me anymore. But understandably, they got athletes to care about. So I think on the way, me and my mom were driving to Fargo. Coach Littlejohn called me up, and he's like, they said you don't have any more years. You're too old to play. I'm like, nope, I got the documentation here. Like, you can talk to these people. And then Colleen got it all figured out, and she was incredible. She was the best. So
did you get a little nervous at that point? Like, wait a minute, I've got it here. It proves that I can play.
I knew I had it. I just, some compliance departments that give you a harder time than others, but Colleen's an absolute gem. So I'm lucky that I got to work with her.
Now that you've been here for 9 months, what would you tell yourself even back in January about what this experience has been like for you so far?
Yeah, I mean, look, I knew it was going to be hard. I don't think I knew how hard it was truly going to be. Like, everywhere, every college football team, Division I college football team, like, you work hard. Like, those coaches are coaching football for a living. The strength coaches do that for a living. Like, you work hard. It's just like here, it's like work hard, you work, just a different level to it. Like, so I guess I would prepare myself a little bit more for that. But I mean, I was prepared as I could be. Just follow the path and the Bison way, and you'll do great things.
I know what my buddies asked me about living in Fargo from New York. What have yours asked you about what Fargo is like from back home?
Yeah, I mean, I tell them they got to come move to a real city like Fargo. I mean, it's a great place. It's a lot better in the fall and the spring than it is in the winter, but it has good food. My only complaint would be a little bit, maybe a lack of Italian food,
with you there,
as you would know. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's a great place. Great place to be for a year.
I know we talked about this back in January. The Ivy League, I don't know if people understand how good the level of football is there on a week-to-week basis. Tell us about what it's like playing in the Ivy and what kind of talent's there.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have some talented football players. If you just follow the transfers and see where they go, like, they usually do pretty good. I mean, Anthony's here. He's been a starter for 2 years. I'm doing well here, so they're pretty good. I mean, I'm excited to see what they can do in the playoffs. I hope Penn wins the Ivy and makes the playoffs, but if not, Harvard looks like a good football team. They might cause some waves.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, now that they're eligible, do you think they can, shock some people, beat some teams in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, I actually played that quarterback. He was young when I was there. He's a great athlete, and I mean, they're well coached and a good football team. So yeah, I think they can. we lost to them in triple overtime on a Philly special after a half-yard goal line stand. So if I could get my get back on Harvard, it would be very, very sweet.
My conversation with Jack Iuliano, great guy, and from Rye, New York. For those that don't know, Rye is about 45, on a good day, about 45 minutes north of Manhattan. It's not far from Mamaroneck. That's Wingfoot Golf Course for you golf rubes out there. It's, let's just say, a well-to-do part of the state, a little different from where I'm from. But here's the timeline, just to go through it, to understand what he's gone through the last 6 years. So he enrolled at Penn in 2019. You heard him say he missed that season with a labrum injury, so redshirted there. 2020, we all remember, the Ivy League was the first to cancel everything. And we'll never forget, we're sitting here doing the show March of 2020. The Ivy League said they're not holding their conference basketball tournament, and we all laughed at that. And then, of course, we all know what happened. So the Ivy didn't play that entire year. They didn't play in the spring of 2021, as Jack alluded to during our interview. So he literally was on campus for a year and then was off campus for almost 2 full years because they didn't do in-person classes. 2021, he did not play that season. That's basically a red shirt, right? So 3 years in, and he hasn't played yet. 2022, he played in a handful of games. I believe he played 7 games that year, had a couple of tackles. 23, he had his breakout year. I think he had 7 sacks that year for Penn. And as he mentioned, they don't do grad transfers there, or grad work, so he went in the portal, went and played in 2024 at Albany. That was the year after the Great Danes made it to the semifinals, lost to the Jacks by 1 million points, thinking he was going into a program that was on its way up, and Albany really struggled. You heard him say that. He did not have a great experience there with former coach Greg Gattuso at Albany, so went into the portal. And I think we detailed it pretty well during the offseason that the Bison had lost Cole Menz. They had lost Hunter Zenzen. Both had medically retired. Loshaka Rokes and Dylan Hendricks were gone. So, I mean, there's 4 guys right there at the defensive end spot that the Bison were looking in the portal, at least for a couple. And they were after some guys that ended up going to bigger schools or, Power 4 schools. And Jack ended up being the guy that they ended up going to, and you heard him describe the transcript issue. But he's here, and you saw him have a big play in the win over Southern Illinois on Saturday, and been a nice addition to that Bison defensive end room. Fun character to talk to, and when you keep playing this long, you got to have a love for it, and you certainly can see it when he's out there playing. Appreciate our conversation we had there last week. We're overdue for a break. We caught up here. We got a bunch of emails to get to. We got Steve Laqua coming up here in about 12 minutes as well. Back on a Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mic right after this. Welcome back, everybody. A couple minutes here before we get Steve Laqua with us. We got a bunch of emails to get into. Dom, you call yourself a football almost expert, yet you call the Bears bad, but you root for the Jets. Well, yes, I can do that. I recognize terribleness. Bears have not necessarily been tearing up the National Football League quarterback-wise since, what, Mike Tomczak? Jim McMahon? I mean, don't give me Rex Grossman here. We're gonna. If you want to go down the laundry list of great Bears quarterbacks, we can have that discussion. Dom, I hope Eric didn't take my suggestion a couple weeks ago of putting the X and Y in front of Buffalo in the standings graphic. The Patriots are rising, the Bills are falling, but I do think he's safe in putting the E next to the Jets. Sorry, Dom. Yes, we can do that. Did you do that yet? Did you claim that the the Bills were going to win the division? Because New England is. Yeah. How about that? The Patriots may have found a guy. Well, how about that? There's a franchise that needs a break, right? New England to find a quarterback. Give me a break. They're good again. Let's do a couple more. Dom, I just realized this year's World Series won't have any weather delays or postponements because the Mariners, Brewers, and Blue Jays all have retractable roofs, and then you have L.A. Yeah, that's a neat little stat there. And that's a reminder for baseball going forward for scheduling that these teams should always play at home to start the season because they can play the games. We don't have to worry about any weather delays. But yeah, Mariners, Brewers and Blue Jays all have the retractable roofs. I believe the game in Toronto was played with the roof open. I will tell you, the Sky Dome is the one major league park I've been to the most. I've been to at least 15, 16 games at Sky Dome because it's the closest to where I grew up. It's right around Lake Ontario. It's 3.5 hours. And I went there. I went to the old exhibition stadium, actually, in Toronto. God, it was so hot. It was like 1988. My dad could probably tell you the story next time he's on the show. But the first time I went to Sky Dome, gosh, the park opened in 90. Eric, check that out, 90 or 91. They had the All-Star game there in 91, I want to say. And that's when it was the biggest thing because they had the Hard Rock restaurant. The hotel was in the outfield, which in those days, in 1991, was the wildest thing ever. There's a hotel and a restaurant inside the baseball stadium. And I want to say 93 or 94 was my first time there. And I actually got to see the roof close. And that was, even at 15, like, wow, that's really neat. 89 was when it opened. Thank you. So, I'm going to be 88 then was the last year when I went to Exhibition Stadium. So, in the years we've gone back, and obviously, I mean, Roger Clemens was a Blue Jay. I mean, they had, and where I grew up in Syracuse, the AAA team, the Chiefs, they were the affiliate of the Blue Jays. So, I got to see all the guys who went on and played and won the World Series for Toronto. They played in Syracuse, which was kind of neat growing up. But even in the late 90s when the Blue Jays were going the other way, you still got to see a bunch of top players come through there. Anyway, Sky Dome for a while they didn't update it until 2000, I want to say the last 10 years. Because now, I mean, what do you say, 89, so 36-year-old stadium. Now we're talking that's got to be in the top 5 of oldest ballparks around. But that retractable thing, that was the biggest thing ever that happened. And now, obviously, there's more than a handful. Arizona's got it. Seattle's got it. Houston's got it. There's a bunch out there that I think even the Marlins one does it, even though they never do it. There's some cool ones out there. But, yeah, that'll be the case for whoever makes the World Series. We don't have to worry about it. So Fox can breathe easy. You know the games are going to be played, whoever's playing in it. We'll break. We come back. Thanks for all the emails, everybody. That was good stuff. Steve Laqua on the other side of the break. Dragons into their bye week, winning a couple in a row and getting ready for the stretch run. We'll discuss that when we come back on Hot Mic right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Tuesday morning show rolls on. So, for the first time I can remember, in at least a decade plus, the Dragons are not playing this weekend. They have a bye week, which may not sound crazy, but the Northern Sun has, for years, just played 11 straight weeks, and then it's on to the postseason. That's not the case in 2025. MSU Moorhead will take the week off before they play their final 4 games of the regular season. Remember, the Dragons played in week 0 way back in late August, and now play 7 straight, take a week off, and then they've got 4 to go. So for our next guest, I'm sure he's just crawling the walls. He doesn't know what to do with himself. As head coach Steve Laqua joins us each and every Tuesday at 10:35. You and I were joking off. When's the last time you actually had a bye week as a coach?
As a coach, it was 2006 when I was at NDSU, and I don't even remember what we did during that week. All I think I went somewhere to watch a football game on a Friday night in South Dakota, probably, or whatever. So it's I couldn't even go back to my memories and be like, hey, here's what you do during a bye week.
So you knew this was coming. What do you got planned? How do you plan for this? So you've never done this before.
Yeah, it's a thing of like, okay, we've got to make sure that we get our guys healthy. I think that was kind of the number one thing. We also have a scrimmage with the kind of the JV, if you want to call it, the red shirt guys. Because of the 4-game rule, you can take advantage of that, and those guys, that can be one of their 4 games. And so with Jamestown, we have that set up tomorrow to be able to have that kind of a no special teams, but live tackle, clock running situation. We can get some development there. So we're taking these first 2 weeks and really, honestly, our first team offense and defense has become the scout team. We're showing some of these JV guys, here's the looks you're going to see. Let's get you ready. And so we really feel like we've got a chance to kind of steal a spring ball type feel or a scrimmage and probably a higher level of that, because it's going to be full tackle for the whole thing, and see if we can get some development. We'll do some good on good today, and then Thursday, Friday will definitely be kind of like a fall camp, short practice, but let's be intense. Let's get to it. And then we're going to give the guys the weekend off. There's a lot of chatter. Should we practice Saturday, do this? And I'm like, the point of the bye week is to be able to not just physically rest, but mentally rest too. Like, these guys want to sit down Saturday and watch college football, or maybe they want to go hunting. Let's give them that opportunity. And then we got to hit it and sprint for 4 straight weeks to finish this thing off.
How odd does it feel for you? Like, I know your coaches are all creatures of routine. This is definitely not part of the usual routine.
Definitely a different feel. Pulled up out of the submarine. I realized the Jets aren't doing very well. Didn't know that until this week. Mets weren't in the baseball playoffs, which I guess baseball playoffs are going on. So I was like, wow, I didn't realize how tough it's been on you in the last 5 minutes. So I kind of feel bad that we haven't had haven't given you some support over that.
First off, you and I have known each other a long time. I can tell you that this is like rinse and repeat with both those teams, all right? You could be in the submarine for 15 years. You could say the same thing to me, so there's nothing different about that. But I appreciate that.
That's a good segue into the rinse and repeat. How about what we did in our game this last week of almost blowing it? And then
all right, well, you ripped the Band-Aid off, so I'm looking at, I'm at the Bison game, and I've got your score up on my computer. Like, all right, it's 38-14. Cool, they're going to go and win, and then, calling the game, and I look back, wait a minute, 38-35? What happened?
Yeah, we gave up a lot of points and didn't score any. We get the touchdown, and it gets to 17. I'm looking at it going, okay, this is about the situation last week. There's no way this is going to happen again. And we start to put a drive together, and then we fumble. I'm like, okay, well, we're okay. We're going to – now they go down and score. We don't get the onside kick again. I'm going, oh, man. Then they score, and then we go down. We're trying to run the clock out, and we don't get it run out and give them 24 seconds left. I think that's about the time when I felt my pulse in my neck, like whatever artery or whatever that – I felt it in there, so – lo and behold, we got to defend a Hail Mary to win this thing again. So it's, man, I've told the guys, I've told them again, like, life keeps giving you the challenge. Yeah. So you learn the lesson or develop the skill. And so we haven't developed the skill. The good news is we've won both of them the last 2 weeks. We're going to be in the situation again against a better team in a higher stakes game with less margin for error, and we're going to have to be better. And so I think there's a definite focus this week going into the bye week of understanding, if we won these last 2 games in big time fashion, which we were well on our way to,
right,
we're feeling really great about ourselves. Instead, we're like, holy, we can be this bad and lose it like that, or we can be this good and win easy. We got to get some consistency, and let's get it taken care of here, fellas. So I think that's helped the urgency of the bye week.
I was going to say, so on the bus heading home, I mean, what was you got to be excited, obviously, to win is tough, but it felt like tempered with that wasn't good?
I think that was the definite vibe of it was not a feel-good win, and I tried to really, let's not fall into that trap. But college football is so difficult to win consistently. Wins are not easy to come by. Half the teams lose every week, so we're not in that half. That's good, right? And you look at it and you just try and the appreciation for, hey, we did find a way to get it done. Let's respect winning. I told our guys in the team meeting on Monday, I said, how many times when the game's done do you grab your phone, you look at the scores of the NSIC conference, and do you ever in a week look at it and go, oh yeah, everything went as expected? There's always one score that catches you off guard. And so nothing is a given. Hey, let's just be happy we got out with wins, and let's take the information, let's get better and move forward.
So out of that, would you rather play this week to maybe emphasize that message, or is it okay to be done for the week?
I think it's okay. We're probably at the point 7 weeks in where we've got a lot of beat up bodies. Our defense played 94 snaps, says how it ended up in that game, because the defense scored a touchdown, so they had to go right back out for another long drive. We score on the 3 or 5 play short series. They were out there most of the fourth quarter. We've got a lot of beat up bodies that I'm glad we got a chance to rest and recover, because we're going to go through a gauntlet here in the last month. So hopefully we can be ready for that at full strength.
I was talking about that, Steve. Out of the bye, you go to Northern, and Northern's playing this week. So how much, I guess, is an advantage there that you get a chance to watch them while they're playing this coming weekend?
Well, you hope it's an advantage in that we're rested, sharp, fresh. We've had fresh and clean eyes to be able to look at their stuff and a game plan. It's not kind of just week after week in the grind. You hope that's better. Now, what you worry about is how about the sync, the rhythm, the whatever you have of not just a game week, but for us in throwing the football, if you're a little bit off, it's incomplete. Series are done. Like, you have to be in some consistent rhythm. So that's probably a concern. It's probably a plus both ways.
Then after that, with Bemidji, Jamestown, and end the season with Mankato, I know it's a week-to-week deal. Are you looking at this, okay, if we run the table, we've put ourselves into a position to be eligible for the postseason?
Last time you talked about something like this with us getting a top 25 vote or whatever, then we came out late.
I know. I got to ask.
I feel like I can't touch this one. This is like, we got to have a good bye week. Let's get healthy. Let's figure some things out. And then we got to go into Northern, who, you know what, they're playing really good football. They just beat Duluth as a top 10 team, first loss of the season for Duluth. We got to go into that place, which is a difficult place. We just got to find a way to survive and advance. And hey, if we can do that, then you know what? Then we got to go play a team that we haven't beat, which it feels like a decade. So we've got plenty of challenges before we can even start talking about that.
All right, let me ask a different way, though. For your players, I'm sure they see it. You mentioned they're on their phones. They'll address that with them, like, hey, if we take care of business, we could do something here.
Yeah, that's a lot of business to take care of. So it's like you can't go 2-0 if you don't go 1-0. So like we got to get to the 1-0. And I think the way the last 2 weeks have played out, I don't think our guys any of us could overlook. We're like, yeah, we had a 25-point lead. It's disappeared in the, like that. Like this goes quickly. So let's just let's not get caught up in like thinking about in the advance. Let's be in the here and now a little bit. Like what we've got going on, to take a step back like I am this week of looking at, it's really special. We're looking at one of the best Division II quarterbacks, certainly probably the best quarterback that's ever going to play in our program. We've got a kid that's potentially going to be the all-time leading receiver in Division II football history playing. We've got a guy that scored over 30-some touchdowns as a school record. Like, we've got some phenomenal things going on that, like, let's not get caught in the blur. Let's just take a step back and be like, wow, this is a really amazing thing. Like, let's try and keep leveraging it and riding that wave.
How much do you have to remind yourself of that as well?
Definitely do. Last week I felt like, hey, this is a moment when I realized we're coming up on the bye week. You obviously want to win and not have that lingering over, but we're down to 4 weeks. Yeah. And this of tremendous amount of seniors that you feel great. You've got so many relationships built, some, history, games that we've played. We played in a lot of big games, fun games with this group. And you're like, and this ride's almost done. And you start appreciating the ones that they chose to come back. They wanted to do this. They maybe had options to do other things. They've maybe come back from injuries and you're just like, this is really special what we're in. Let's not get caught up just rushing week to week to week. Let's stop and smell the roses and, you know what, really go out and savor the moment.
All right. So now people have to know for you, are you just wander around aimlessly Friday night? Like, are you going to a high school? What are you going to do with yourself this weekend? We got to know.
Some people would say I aimlessly am wandering around. I'm like, I don't know if that's a lot different. So what's really going to happen is, I think it's pretty cool. So my daughter plays volleyball for the Dragons, and it's really luck out that they have a home game Thursday night. So right after practice, I get to watch that. And then Saturday they play in Duluth. So when our practice is done Friday, we're going to go stay with Grandpa and Grandma in Park Rapids halfway. We're going to make the trip, and we're going to get a chance to watch her. I don't get a chance to sit down and watch many of those games. Even Fridays, I get half, and then we've got football stuff. I can get in there Saturday after we're done playing if it's a home game, which matches up 2 times this year. But to be honest, my brain feels like it's been through a meat grinder. I'm there, but I'm probably not really. I don't got a lot of energy to cheer and clap. And so this will be nice to be able to go in there and and see her play and her teammates and really cheer them on because they're having a fabulous season. Potentially, they get a win Thursday. I think it's the most wins they've had in over a decade. So there's some good stuff going on.
All right, I know how you are as track dad. How are you as volleyball dad? Are you that guy? You crazy guy?
I really try not to be. Track, basketball, there's so many points that I have to remind myself, just stay calm, whatever. But yeah, I like to fist pump and get them going, like get going and excited about it. And a lot of times watching these, I just say there's no way I could be a basketball or volleyball coach. It's too volatile. Football's got the same highs and lows, but there's overtime. So, you know what? I'm more used to sitting with a bad call or losing a 25-point lead takes a lot of time. There's a buildup, and I can manage that for a while, and then it changes. These runs back and forth, not for this.
It's great to see you, bud. Enjoy your week. Go have fun watching some volleyball, and we'll catch up next Tuesday, okay?
Sounds great.
There he goes. Steve Laqua joining us, MSU head football coach. Dragons in the bye week at 5-2. They'll be back in action a week from Saturday with a biggie at Northern State. We'll come back. We'll take our final break. We wrap things up. We got a busy Sports Tuesday ahead. Some baseball, some hockey, and yeah, there's college football tonight. We'll get you ready for that when Hot Mike wraps right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on this Tuesday morning. Back tomorrow with our Bison Media Zone. I happened to just double check for I don't know if you saw this email, Eric. I sent this out a couple weeks ago for our schedule because tomorrow Sam's going to join me for Bison Media Zone, and I was just double checking because I knew we had Mike last week and we had Kolpak the week before. We normally rotate on that, and I was just double checking. I'm like, all right, I got to make sure I let Sam. No, because Sam's got a million things going on. He's calling games and doing all sorts of different stuff. So I went back and looked at the email, and it says for October 15th, Dom Izzo and Adam Getzinger. Adam. Now, I don't know if he saw it because he hasn't said anything to me about it. But I looked at it this morning like, what? What is that? Like, did my they changed? Like, what? I said it at 6:50 in the morning, so I'm awake. It was 2 weeks ago tomorrow that I sent the email. Maybe that's his evil twin or something like that.
Is that like his like brother?
I don't know, like an evil twin is all I can think of.
I thought it was just somebody we hired that I didn't know about. Like, is that the same last name as Sam?
I looked this morning like, who is this? Oh, man. I've done something similar, not to this extent, because I send the First News crew, I send them a tease for the show every night. And sometimes I'll do it, right before I fall asleep. Other times I'll fall asleep, wake up, and half awake. And I sent one. We got Adam Ladwig. I sent one. It was total gibberish. I don't even know what it was. No, dude, I woke. I'm like, and I went, don't read this on the air. This is complete gibberish. We're not talking. This is not on the show. It doesn't make any sense. So, word to the wise, with any emails, make sure you are fully awake. Text messages before you send them. That's just a free bit of advice here. Before you hit the send button, read it over. Spell check. I don't know who maybe we'll have Adam Getzinger tomorrow to join us for the BMZ. Looking forward to that. Let's do 2 more emails here before we got to roll. Another one. We've already hammered Wisconsin. We're not doing that anymore. He already feels bad enough about his football team. Dom, what do we make of the Bison and getting the Gophers? We're going to talk more about that on the show tomorrow. The North Dakota State, Minnesota playing in a men's basketball exhibition on Thursday night at the Barn. I'm on board. Do it. Can we play in the regular season? That's the next thing to ask Nico Medved. Can we make that a thing? Because both UND and NDSU are playing the Gophers in exhibition games prior to the start of the regular season. Yes, folks, it is here. Basketball is we were down at Sioux Falls a week ago today, so if you need any reminder, we have reached that part of the year with the basketball season. I had one other one. Dom, you need to put your Jets items in a bag so out of total sight. Twins are more fun to watch than your Jets. Now that seems a bit egregious, doesn't it? The Twins were playing the last 2 months with minor leaguers. The Jets actually have some guys. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall can play. Their quarterback might seem like he can play, Division III football, even though he played at The Ohio State and was, the 10th pick in the draft the same year that Trey Lance came out? It ain't working there. But appreciate all the emails we got today on the show. That was some good stuff. Let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. All right, What to Watch is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. We got high school volleyball coming up tonight. West Fargo and Shanley as we're down to the final few weeks of the regular season. Check it out tonight, 7 o'clock right here on Extra between the Packers and the Demons. Also tonight, Game 2, Dodgers and Brewers, 7 o'clock on TBS. Dodgers lead that series 1-0. We'll see if Milwaukee can square it up before the series goes back to L.A. for Game 3 on Thursday. The Minnesota Wild won last night. They're in action tonight against Dallas, 8:30 on ESPN. As I mentioned, we got college football tonight. We got 3 games tonight from Conference USA. We got Florida International and Western Kentucky, 7 o'clock on ESPNU. Our thanks to Harvey McMahon, to Mike McFeely, Jack Iuliano, and to Steve Laqua. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.